Alright. Welcome to another NCBB Game of the Week. This time we've got the John Molson School of Bruising, coached by Uber, and the UNAM Pumas Malditas, coached by Menoloco. It's a big showdown, really, according to the BCS right now, or at least Uber's standings page. These are literally the top two teams in the nation. There's other rankings such as the Apajar and BBR, BCS, APAR, WAP, all sorts of weird and fun rankings, but you'll find these teams near the top of almost all of them, if not all of them. So this is a big showdown in the AKC conference and perhaps for playoff implications as well. Alright, inducements. We've got one star player, the old Chainsaw Max Spleen Ripper on the side of John Molson. Let's see. Both werewolves are there. Looks like Uber's got all of his big components, so pretty healthy showdown going in, perhaps not going out. UNAM very feisty on defense so far this season. They've only allowed 4 touchdowns, but John Molson, an equally impressive 4 touchdowns. Both teams have played 8 games, so half a touchdown per game allowed is no joke. UNAM plus 9 in casualties, John Molson plus 15. 24 cause for UNAM, 26 for John Molson, so this should be a bloody low-scoring showdown, one would think. As far as the AKC goes, UNAM 5-0-0 in conference. John Molson 3-1-1, so if they have any hope of claiming the AKC conference crown, they must win here and get a little bit of help the last 2 rounds. Or last single round, I guess, if these teams have played 8 games. Washington just behind them at 2-1-2 in conference, 5-1-2 overall, so already over the bowl threshold. Hawaii challenged this UNAM team and came up a bit short, but they're 4-2-1 overall, 3-0-1 in conference, so if enough weird things happen, Hawaii could see themselves in the AKC race again. We're getting our Chainsaw on offense. Look to play it slow so keep him around as long as possible. Pretty solid ball carrier in Killam Winslow, AG4 sure hands block. His Pestigore buddies, just a block guy up there. Strength 4 blodge tackle, and a wrestle guy at the bottom. So 2 youngins, 2 veterans. Pitch invasion to start, okay. Feisty crowd. Not too many players affected, but half, well, 2/3 of line of scrimmage, I suppose, and that's a good thing for UNAM. It's less likely they'll be taken out. None of the shielding layer is taken down by the pitch invasion, so you don't get a weird shot on a werewolf, but get a good flesh golem right there, a guard zombie, so you got a couple juicy targets if you want to take your... Well, you've used your 1 claw player already, so here's a blitz on random Zombo number 37. Nothing going there. We'll see how much contact each team elects to get into. Nurgle are obviously a team that likes to get in there and block and, control the pace, force you to be uncomfortable with all their tentacles and foul appearance and all that fun stuff. Necro can be a little more surgical if they choose to, but once they get up they can certainly press like we've seen some teams do. Sending a couple of his Pestigores back, not too bad of an idea. You're not really expecting the werewolves to make a push downfield by themselves, but you're not going to get anywhere near them. in the next couple turns, most likely, so we'll see how each team decides to play it. Good pickup there by Winslow. It's always a weird one when the ball scatters into the end zone, and if you fail it, you're afraid it scatters to the opposite corner, for example. Like it goes way up here, and then Necro somehow race you over there and beat you to it, which would be disastrous. Suppose Uber knows that whatever bloater he leaves alone is pretty much the automatic target of this nice werewolf. Benhas Darama, tackle, mighty blow, block. Does have minus MA, but he's 3 SPPs away from getting another skill. Doesn't need one per se, but sidestep be a good normal, sure feet. Something like that. Dodge, I suppose. Doesn't hurt. Of course, his counterpart, Alfonso, movement 9, agility 4, block. That's the scoring werewolf. And here comes the bash werewolf. Going for Shaquille O'Neal, but foul appearance cannot be overcome until he uses a reroll. Gets a stun, but now the werewolf is in contact, so he has to dodge away. Does so successfully. Not the bloody start we'd envisioned, but that's what happens when you get a pitch invasion. 2/3 of the line of scrimmage goes down. Werewolf doesn't totally do his job. Chainsaw hasn't been used yet, but the blood's coming, ladies and gentlemen. It's due. UNAM has elected to be in a little bit of contact. You've got the block on line of scrimmage against the claw with the zombie. You've got a potential 3-die here if you move an assist, or just a regular old 2-die. John Molson does have one Cloud player, like we said. This Dale Howard choke in the middle is already moved, but you know, Chainsaw, big guys, bloaters, they're capable of doing damage the old-fashioned way as well. Interesting blitz here, going for the flesh golem, but can't even move the guy. Was perhaps looking for a takedown and then a chainsaw foul, I suppose. It's always risky going for the AV9 flesh golems, but they're so important to the Necro for controlling space. Obvious strength 4 leads to better blocks for the other players. But man, when you roll pushes on that stand firm, it just feels bad. Good block here by the Rot Spawn. Question is, do you follow and stand next to the other flesh golem? He is AV8, chooses to do so. Very good one though. Tackle, mighty blow, guard, block. But if you leave the Rot Spawn alone, I have a feeling Menno's gonna move some players around and try to knock this guy down. If you can knock down the Rot Spawn or, you know, the Troll, Minotaur, Croxagore, you can basically take them out of a drive. So Uber moves one of the bloaters to support. Minnow chooses, he's already got an assist here to counteract the bloater, so if you move 2 more guys down, you've got a 2-die on the Rot Spawn. You are committing a lot of resources to this one spot, but it's mostly just zombies. Takes one down, but can't move him with stand firm there. Now where's the werewolf go? You've kind of got this one bloater isolated up top, but he is strength 5. You could commit like literally all your pieces and try to take him down, or something else perhaps. Could move a player here like the white and then blitz with the Mighty Blow Wolf, get a 2-die on Dale, but not on the follow-up, so you gotta be careful. I think the optimal plan would be to somehow take down both bloaters here, whether it's a block here and a blitz here, or something to that effect. We'll see how Menno decides to play it. Decides to go with the white blitz. Foul appearance strikes again, but no reroll this time. Still not a single player out for either team. This is a little surprising. Leaves the werewolf safely in the middle, but quite a bit of contact here. We'll see how John Molson tries to free up their guys or punish UNAM a little bit. Using an early blitz here. If you follow, you lose the assist on the flesh column, but now you set up the guard, so you set up a 2-die here. That's a nice POW on that white. If you could take him out, which you can't, unfortunately, that would have been a big get for John Molson early. Old Max is pretty close to the front line. He's probably safe with the bloaters and everything around here, but it's a juicy target. I'm not sure this is a great spot for the ball to be in, but at the same time it's going to be difficult for Menno to get a good shot on it here. Guess I should mention, despite the fact it's a little hard to tell thanks to the two logos, it is raining. Won't be easy to re-pick up the ball if it does scatter. turn 3 for UNAM, so after this we'll have 3 turns apiece, but so far, not a single removal. Ball's up to midfield, so John Molson's on schedule. Like I mentioned earlier, both defenses have only allowed 4 touchdowns in 8 games each, so allowing half a touchdown a game overall. Don't expect to... Probably won't even, get a 2-1 result here. 1-1, 0-1 seems like a very likely result. UNAM unable to move the rot spawn there. Moves one of the bloaters. They're looking for some kind of shot on the ball here. Gets a stun on the claw bloater. He does have the guard assist for the chainsaw hit, but that's dangerous. Rotspawn doing his job, taking on a legion of zombies and a flesh golem, and can't be moved by 4 players. Does go for the 1 die. Gets a push but rerolls into both down. Chainsaw is stunned. So next turn is not going to be easy for John Molson. There are claw bloaters on the ground, chainsaws on the ground. There are a lot of contact, but maybe they can dish them out finally. Uber checking all of his blocks, looking for the juiciest one. Goes with old reliable Pavel Bury for a push. It's a nice stun there. And gets a POW on the blodging white. Not bad. A little surprised you don't follow, but I suppose you don't need to since your bloater up here is strength 5. He's a self-reliant player, I suppose. Gets another POW and a stun on that golem. Very nice. Probably just leave the rot spawn where he is, just tying up some random zombies. And as I say that, it's looking to take a block with him maybe. Hesitates perhaps. Getting a blitz here. Our first removal. Only took 7 combined turns basically. Interesting. So he throws the block with the rot spawn, gets it, but then doesn't follow. I thought for sure he'd look to tie up all 3 zombies. But now UNAM's going to have to make some decisions. John Molson's slowly moving the ball forward. It's already, a third of the way onto their side of the field. A lot of your players are either down or tied up or both. Goes to the blitz on the cage corner. Now he's marked the ball. See what he does with his other werewolf. Goes to cut off the advance a little bit. We'll see how Uber responds. He can take Mr. Pavelberry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Provide an assist here, but you'd really like to take him down. 1, 2, 3. You could blitz with the bloater. Then block with your bloater here, free up your 2 players. Probably fall back a bit. You don't need to push forward, especially since your team is relatively slow. There's our first injury. Mr. Rafael G. Vergara. Zombie is a little less agile than he was already, which is not substantial by any means, but I don't expect him to ever be selected for an MVP during his career at UNAM at this rate. Interesting. Very interesting. What is Uber planning here? Blitzes the wolf out in front. He is within scoring range. Does have agility 4. I'm not sure scoring here is the play, though. And it doesn't look like he's gonna choose to do it. This is a bit dangerous, however. You are leaving your ball carrier in a spot where you can get blitzed the next turn. Your bloater doesn't have guard, for example. In fact, John Molson's a little light on guard. They have 2 currently. I remember they lost a young bloater and a pestigore in the bowl game last season, if I recall. Probably didn't help. I'm expecting Mr. Berry to go right about here. Be difficult for Menno to get a 2-die on the ball at that point, but not impossible, I suppose. You get a chainsaw foul, and he gets caught. And Coach Uber's gone from the game. Right, so tackle Mighty Blow guard White is knocked out. We'll see if he stays knocked out or comes back. I mean, that literally the only thing Max has done all game. He didn't really get a chance to foul or blitz or anything already, so unless that White stays KO'd, his value was not really reached this game. Oh, wow, okay. That's, damn. He was difficult to move, but, not when you POW him and then kill him, and then he fails to regenerate. That's brutal. We get a shot on the ball here. Sir William Marshall gets the takedown. Ball scatters to a contested spot. Not sure who that's better for. Got your 2-die there, but he's a blodger. That doesn't move him at all. Goes for the 1-die, okay. I think you need to move these bloaters and have him be in position for next turn before you do anything else. But I'm assuming we're getting a Wrestle Pestigore Blitz on this werewolf, and then a dodge out pickup, but I only got 3 movements, so 1, 2, 3, maybe if you go backwards. Nope, he's blitzing with the guy on the ground. Changes his mind. Goes the blitz again. Can't take him down. Doesn't overly matter whether you follow or not. Pick up after the dodge, but now where do you go? He stays put. Probably the best decision. That werewolf's marked. This one's agility 4, but he's marked. You only have 1 guard player. Well, okay, they've got 3, but unless you move the ball carrier up, doesn't matter that much, unless you can throw some blocks and move one of the guards down here. If you actually took a second and looked at that, instead of taking the defender stumbles, if you take the push there, you may have been able to block with the white and get him away from all this and put the guard assist on the ball, but with a double guard here, it may have been tough. And that -2 die, oh, Dauntless, failed. Still interesting call. Foul appearance strikes for the 3rd time. We'll get a blitz on the ball to push into the guard assist, but can't take the ball down. And can't move the rot spawn again. We'll see how Uber decides to free himself here. He is against the clock now. Turn 7. Ball is technically within scoring range. You could 2-die blitz this wolf, and you don't really want to chain the ball north. Or do you? Maybe? And you can block the werewolf, although there's a guard. No. Block him here. You push those guys out the way, then dodge out and down. Or just use the rot spawn, who's been the absolute MVP, and chain this way. I mean, he's never going to get an accolade for the best big in the league, I'm assuming. But he is performing like it today. That GFI almost costing them, but reroll. I suppose a little bit strange when you do have the Pestigore Blitz, but I guess you want to use the Claw Mighty Blow on that werewolf while you have the chance. And then also not pushing him down when I think you have the chance? A little questionable. Maybe Uber is not looking to score this turn, which would be pretty risky, I suppose. Can't really leave the ball along the sideline or even a row up from it. You can't defend both the Werewolf coming from the top and from down here, just with one screening player. I think you're relatively safe if you score. And he does. Okay, I was a bit concerned what he was going to do, but John Molson ends up on the scoreboard. It is 1-0 with 2 turns left in the half for UNAM to perhaps retaliate. Needs a quick break. Maybe he's got to talk to the team about their performance so far. Granted, I mean, they got one really good hit on a really good Pestigore and it killed him, so, you know, sometimes it's the quality and not the quantity. Let's take a look at what else is going on throughout the league. Very quietly, Ottawa's got back to number 3 overall in the Uber standings, I guess the BCS. 6-1-2, 5-0-1 in conference. You know, lost Julian Starr way back in week 2 after losing the big showcase game against GotW in week 1. But they're surging again. Not to be counted out. Florida still undefeated at 4-4-0. Pretty impressive. St. Louis very quietly, number 7, sitting at 5-1-1. Duke, of course, 4-3-1. They had their usual out-of-conference stumble and then just went about their business and got better, and they're going to be right in the thick of things again. Another necromantic team, Paris, coached by Duffer, sitting at 5-0-2, undefeated in conference so far at 4-0-0. Second-year team in the UAC. I think I saw in the chat earlier that Ottawa's looking forward to facing them in a conference game. Another one of those Undead United Bowl things where those undead-type teams fight for supremacy of the unlife, or whatever they want to call it. Surprisingly, though, Paris negative on the casualty mark this season, -2, 15-17. But you know, second-year team, it's not easy jumping up to the big leads after a season in the non-AQ, even though Paris was very successful last season at like 7-1-1. Let's see what Uber's defense is like. Spread out, got some basic-ass Rotters on the line. Pestigores are safe. Bloaters, big guys, spread out. The ball carrier Pestigore on the bench, a little interesting. I think I would have moved a bloater to this Rotter and had the Pestigore on the field, even if you can't, you know, shield all of them. I think having an agility 4 player with block is just a very useful tool to have on defense. Dutch Life in the Discord chat pointing out that Pavel Berry is dead for John Molson, and then Kazark retorts, "There's no crying in Blood Bowl." And then Uber laments they just can't seem to keep a tackler alive. Well, them's the breaks, I suppose. John Molson also a second-year team, if memory serves, so quite the season so far for the Nurgle. Let's see, so Sir Gregory Longhorn does stay out. That's the player that was fouled by Ye Old Chainsaw, so perhaps a little bit of value from old Max Spleen Ripper. Especially if he stays knocked out, going into the second half. Now that's a much more value than we thought we'd be getting from Max after his one and done on the foul. UNAM's got 2 turns, 1 reroll. As far as their ghouls who have not seen the field yet, they've got a rookie, no SPPs, but a very good one, an Elrond. Movement 8, sure hand, sidestep, block, so going to be very useful here. I'm assuming he's picking up the ball. You've got the agility 4 werewolf who you're going to try to move downfield, but not going to have a lot of easy places to go. Your best bet is to try to clear the line of scrimmage a little bit, at least the top 2. Probably blitz champ. Create a gap here and make like a screen. You've got to get a movement 9 werewolf just to column 11 technically, but you want to give yourself a few options at least. Tonight is the weekly deadline. I know there's 1 or 2 games pushed till tomorrow. A lot of people had, well, not a lot, but a couple people had scheduled on Tuesday just, like, oh, Tuesday's good for me, no big plans. And then, day rolls around, they're like, oh yeah, there's that election thing I need to pay attention to. So a couple games got pushed to tomorrow. A couple others can be forfeited. I know that Tazalaran contacted me after last round and said that he wasn't going to be able to finish out the season, so I subbed in a filler team tonight in the FBC and played Jim. Jim always a sport, but his frogs just couldn't catch a break on the scatters, and they ended up falling to my random filler rat team from season 24 or something. I don't remember when I played them. Uber claiming in the Discord chat that Menno was off sacrificing a chicken to the Mayan gods, perhaps for luck in the second half, or fortune, or whatever that ritual would, get you. Feels like it's been about 5 minutes. Menno should be back any time now. Dutch pointing out in the Discord chat that we gave the Pumas a bloody nose. Take a look at the icon on the field. There certainly looks that way. Right on the snout. Granted, that was the Puma's own doing. That's where they killed Pavel Berry. On just a random ass block with a zombie against a strength 4 Blodge tackle Pestigore, but stuff happens like that sometimes. So, how's everyone doing? What else do we have to talk about, I suppose? Take a look at some of the conferences. Big Beast, currently led by California. I think my game against Beret and Wolves can get pushed back to the makeup round, but slight lead there in conference play. FBC, no surprise, Duke on top. Air Force not too far behind, but a couple games behind. Same thing with Texas A&M. Duke and Texas A&M did tie earlier this season, so no clarity there, but Duke already has 3 conference wins. It'll be a little tough for Les Agricultures to catch up with 0 conference wins and 3 ties. Bretonian special, apparently. SEC, as we said, Florida, surprisingly in the lead. 4-4-0 undefeated, 3-2-0 in conference. I believe they've already faced and beat TCU, who's second, so could have a grasp on the conference as a whole. Most others have at least, all others have at least 2 losses in conference. AKC is the one we're watching tonight. UNAM undefeated. John Molson behind him at 3-1-1. Washington, Hawaii, and somehow number 5, Gallaudet, 3-1-3 overall, 1-0-3 in conference, which is a huge disappointment from where we thought they'd be coming into the season. Very successful last year, like 6-4-0 in the regular season. Made the playoffs, fell short against Duke in the semis, but with the senior team and the 2 Dynamite Bull Centaurs that I believe are both seniors, we thought this would be the season they put it together, and it's just not come together the way they thought. SPAC looks like it's perhaps St. Louis's to lose, but 3-0-1. They do have the best record overall. Oregon is right behind them, though, in conference at 3-2-0. For Ohio State at 3-0-1, certainly not out of it either. Could be a tight race coming down to some makeup games in the final weeks. UAC, as we said, looks like a showdown between Ottawa and Paris could decide things. Let's see. Non-AQ, 2 different groups. Looks like the best overall record belongs to the Pitt Panzers, coached by Kazarik. That's a dwarf team at 4-1-1. Another solid team looks like Louisiana. The Cajuns, coached by Rumi, Skaven at 3-3-1. I believe Notre Dame Fighting Elvish. That's WOG's High Elf team won earlier, so they're now 3-3-1 as well. A lot of ties so far in the non-AQ. Not super surprising considering all the new teams and pretty diverse group of races overall. Skaven, Chaos, High Elf, Chaos, Zons, Humans, Bretonians, Dwarfs, Pact, Dark Elf, Vampire, Slan, Dark Elf, Norse, so pretty much all over the place. I really hope we can get another Apogee show this week, or soon at least. It's been a while since we were graced with the AP Apogee rankings. Hopefully Meneloka returns to us soon. Ah, there they are. Alright, so where were we? First half, 2 turns left, 1 reroll. Certainly plausible. We'll see how Menno decides to attack, whether he tries to go around an edge with one of the strength 5 bloaters, or, well, bloater or rot spawn, or goes to the middle. What's wrong? What? You want out? Fine. Oh, that's pretty handy, getting an extra reroll for this 2-turn attempt. Now they've got 1 per turn. Still got to get some players in scoring position to do anything with the rerolls, though. Got to be careful when you're blocking this line of scrimmage, though, if you're trying to create a path through. That would, not help. Normally you're like, oh yeah, both down, that's good. But that would block your path unless you also got a removal there. So it goes for the push. You do have guard here, so you can use blitz and potentially get Martin out the way. But you probably want to do it with zombie, unfortunately. Because if you just blitz with William Marshall and get another push, you're in a bad spot. And then this is not a great spot either, but it really works out pretty well. Gets a push on the 2-die, defender stumbles on the 1-die, and takes out, perhaps permanently, Champ Deadly. Although his werewolf will not be in scoring range, barring some sort of chain push. Ghoul is now in scoring range. Ties up the rot spawn with the zombie. Now the question is, what do you do next? Do you go for the pickup in the rain? Do you try to dodge through here with dodge? Do you try to dodge through with the werewolf, since you still have the reroll? Okay, decides to take the long way, not risking a dodge or a GFI or anything. I think a lot of us around the nation are hoping that Mr. Michael Slahan just, continues being a normal player throughout his career and doesn't roll doubles for tentacles, because Strength 5 bloater with block and tentacles would be a pain for most college programs to deal with. Elron not doing his job there, failing to pick up the ball in the rain, albeit, I mean, that's not an easy thing to do. A little slippery. The ghoul's in scoring range. 1 werewolf is in scoring range. We'll see how Uber can defend this. The only tentacles he has are on the rot spawn, so unless you like blitzed here, block the werewolf, and then move the rot spawn down, you couldn't even get a good tag on all these players, so what do you do? No tackle on any of the bloaters. There's actually no tackle on this team anymore now that Pavel Berry's been taken out permanently. think the play you most want to make is knocking down the werewolf. I'm not sure you can get a really good shot at doing so. That's a good knockdown of the other werewolf. No surprising he didn't follow. I thought he might consider blitzing with the rot spawn, then 1, 2, no. 2. Yeah, that wouldn't work. I forgot, they're a little slow. You do have a 2-die here on this zombie to move another bloater around and block the path. I think your best bet is to take this Pestigore, blitz the ghoul. If you can take him down with wrestle, he won't be in 1, 2, 3, 4. He'll be out of scoring range. And then you can move this bloater and tag the werewolf. But you do need to be careful because this white does have Dauntless. So really you'd like him to be above the werewolf. May not be an option though. Can't take down the ghoul. Didn't use a reroll there, which is a little interesting since you have 4. You're not going to throw a block here. Well, you shouldn't. You could. I mean, it is a blodger. You do have the reroll, but... yeah. Decides to play pretty tight and see what Menno can do to get a score here. Goes for the blitz here. Can't overcome foul appearance. And then doesn't reroll it because he has a Dauntless white who can potentially clear that for him. Instead goes for the 1-die block there. Gets a badly hurt, but he does regenerate on a Pestigore. Now he's throwing all these other blocks. Dauntless does work, but the block does not. Now it gets tricky. We do get the pickup this time. 1 GFI, a handoff, and he doesn't catch it. But I suppose, in reality, -2 Disturbing Presence, minus Rain, minus Tackle Zone. That's not an easy one. In fact, it was a 6+. Kazarek already calling for the 1-to-1 tie. Seems likely. UNAM does have the better record overall and in conference, so if they wanted to slow play it and just get out with a tie, it certainly wouldn't hurt them. They are 7-1-0. John Molson sitting at 6-1-1. John Molson with a pretty conservative setup. They've got, random Marauders on the line, all the important people back in this little umbrella shield thing. Could potentially be another square forward. It doesn't matter as much when you're a slow team like Nurgle, but you never know. Looks like a pretty standard setup for Minnow as well. 5 on the line, a couple on the flanks to guard any sweeping actions or blitzes. Another free reroll for UNAM. Up to 5 for the drive. Also, I suppose I need to check. And that white did come back, Mr. Sir Gregory, so Max Spleen Ripper's only action as a foul didn't net too much value, perhaps. That was a bit strange that you have the werewolf on the line and then don't use him to block anything, but we'll see what Minnow does. I'm sorry, did the pickup ghoul just go downfield and mark somebody? And then he blitzed with a zombie? Interesting. Interesting. I mean, obviously you could get frenzy trapped there with the werewolf, but he's been okay with that for much of the game. It's worked out. A little surprising. Mr. Martinez does get the pickup in the rain. Moves the ball in the middle of the Pumas logo. I think you need to move this zombie right about here or here to really screen off the werewolf. I'm not terribly concerned about him getting hit. There's only one player with Mighty Blow and Claw, and just one other with Mighty Blow, that being the Rot Spawn, so still, better to shield him than to not, I suppose. I mean, just in theory, you would love to take a shot at the ghoul here, but you don't have a single tackle on your roster anymore, so it's a little tougher. Such a juicy target, though. I mean, if you're feeling bold... Okay. I was going to say, you could move an assist here, block this zombie out the way, and then take your rot spawn and shove it right in the wolf's face and blitz him, but 'twas not to be. It's a little dangerous putting the rot spawn next to the Dauntless and the triple guard lineup, but he's been doing his job so far. Takes down the guard zombie. Fails the JFI in his blitz. Gets it with a reroll, but then only pushes the stand firm player, so not exactly what he wanted there. Move some of the Pestigores up in an attempt to frenzy trap the werewolf, perhaps. Not a bad idea. Goes for an early blitz. Double skulls, but gets out of it with a reroll. I don't think you need to follow and go underneath the rot spawn. That's kind of a... Well, he does exactly that. Now you've got a lot of your team tied up there, potentially. There's a good knockout. No wolf blitz this turn, unfortunately, but still not a bad one. Knocked down most of the line of scrimmage, knocked out a player, ball should be secure. That 1-to-1 tie seems likely at this point, but who knows? John Molson's been pretty spry on defense all season. Werewolf going in for the assist. Not quite threatening to score, but certainly potentially scoring the next 2 turns, going for the win. And then he backs up, so maybe not. Going for a foul here on the rot spawn, but I mean, that guy's... He's a beast of Nurgle. He's not a rot spawn. He's not even phased by that foul. Another push on a flesh golem. Not ideal. Takes down this werewolf. Perhaps takes him out. Maybe? No. No armor break on the wolf. Suppose there could be a foul opportunity, though, if you can knock down this white. You do have a rotter sitting there. But it doesn't look like this turn's going to go that easy for John Molson. Blitz here with the bloater, but who would you go for? If you just knock down a flesh golem, he's going to stand up the next turn. You wouldn't really gain anything. If you could move him next, yeah, right there, it's not bad. Apparently a bunch of NBFL action right now. Very nice injury. A bit random, and only badly hurt, but not bad at all by Mr. Martin St. Gooey. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 on 10. Rot Spawn goes down, but nothing more. Not moved, not stunned, not removed. Now Meadow's going to have to make some decisions. Do you reverse field and go south? Do you try to push your slight advantage north? Do you frenzy trap yourself here? I mean, if you go north, we're just going to assume we take down the Rotter. You've got a Ghoul out in front, Werewolf, Strength 5 Bloater in the way, another Bloater and a Pestigore to deal with, but you might be able to outflank them. Here, though, you freed up a couple players, and it looks like you might be going south. It's not a bad idea at all. Certainly not a lot of speed on the John Molson team in general, but certainly less so when one of their 4 Pestigores is out, and out permanently. And your Werewolf just happens to be movement 9. Not bad. That's a little tight to the formation, though. I'm assuming you're taking a 2-die block. Oh. Oh, that's a big knockout on a bloater. Okay, this made more sense. I didn't realize he had the blitz still, so. Knocks out the bloater, takes down the Wrestle Pestigore, who could have potentially threatened the ball. And goes for the foul again. Does get the stun this time, but Reggie Blight, the people's champ. And UNAM celebrating prematurely. They finally took down the Rot Spawn for 2 turns, I suppose. Now it gets interesting for John Molson. They don't have a lot of options, but a KO there on a random zombie does help even things out a bit. If you send the bulk of your defense, which is 4 free players and potentially a 5th, you can free up the Pestigore. You send them south. You could muck up the drive, slow down Minnow. But he still might get around you or even reverse field again and eventually score. If you kind of slow play it and lure the wolf forward with just like the ghoul and maybe the white defending, you might be able to force him to score turn 5 or so. Give yourself a few turns to potentially win the game. Granted, offense is certainly not Nurgle's specialty. Looks like he's going to play some positional defense here. UNAM's got about one more turn to do what they want before the old beast is back on his feet, potentially. Throws the 1 die against the werewolf and knocks him out. My. And gets the dodge on his WrestlePestigore to free him up, potentially. Things were looking so good for UNAM at the start of that last turn, and now 2 players knocked out. Most of the Nurgle defense is free. How is this gonna go? We get a blitz here by Sir Gregory. But you gotta move him down away from the rot spawn. You just mark that sucker with the zombie and you say good riddance. But he's going for the gang file again. Burns a reroll there. Not overly necessary, but I need to move the werewolf back a little bit just to be sure. Nope, he goes in for the assist too. Why not? Oh, finally removes the big stinky beast rot spawn Nurgle love child thing. In fact, he gets hurt and will miss the next contest, which is not good unless you are their next opponent, who is, let's see, AKC. In the season finale, since this is a round 6 game, round 7 John Molson has Hawaii, so sure Apajar will not have any qualms over the Beast of Nurgle missing that contest. I think you should have followed up with that router. Just probably a small thing here, but if you follow, the zombie won't be able to double mark again and force him to block again. So if you follow, the bloater would be free potentially next turn. Or Meadow can also mark him, but it'd have to be a different player. Get a blitz here with the wrestler. Where's he going? There's a blodge white. There's a zombie. I mean, not that tempting of a target, but 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, you're not likely getting around to the werewolf. Where is he going? It's a good move, getting your strength 5 bloater on the guard flesh golem. Does go for the blodge white and does wrestle him down. Doesn't look like we'll get the foul that Minnow's asking for. I almost think you just leave that bloater right there. You're going to force Minnow to commit 2 guys to knock him down or move him. Hello, Wog. There's a good dodge there by the Pestigore. Looks like Uber's content to just play the waiting game at this point. Takes away the deep safety. It could make it tougher for Menno to break through. We'll see if that ends up costing him. Or it could be a genius play. Goes for the early blitz here on a Rodder. If you move this white, you can move the golem up here, set up a 2-die. I mean, obviously you could move the guard white here, but he's much more likely to be moved or taken down or taken out the following turn. So I think swapping him out, putting the flesh golem up here could be a good move. And really, Uber's vacated the top part of the field. The strength 5 bloater's in the middle, but 2 of the Pestigores are down here. Could reverse field here. Gets a good knockdown on the strength 5 bloater. Does follow, which may or may not work out. Both these guys have guard, so they're tough to take down. Impossible to move, really. So I can go for another foul here, is he? Kind of looks like it. Takes the foul, gets an injury. Guy does regenerate, but makes it that much tougher for Uber to put up a credible defense here. Numbers are dwindling fast. Only 2 Pestigores left, so you're incredibly slow. And you really don't want to tie up too many bloaters on the flesh golems, but looks like he's going to. I mean, at this point, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Nurgle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Necro. Necro are faster. Nurgle a little bit stronger at this point, not by a whole lot. Still raining, 3 rerolls apiece. But Menno does have to score. No, Wog, if you're talking, I can definitely not hear you. Could be a me thing. Let me check my settings. Wog? Try saying something. Maybe that's the wrong one. Wog, go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. That was a me thing. Welcome to the booth. You may have been here for a while. And I just couldn't hear you. So what are you thinking? Is Menno just gonna kind of waltz down the top part of the field and get a touchdown here to tie this game? Or is Uber gonna somehow pull this out with that Nurgle defense?
No, yeah, this is just going to wind up as a tie game, I think. I don't know why Menno didn't try to go for a win a little earlier. I just popped in, so maybe he didn't have an opportunity, but there's a lot of Nurgle out in there.
It's been a slow trickle. There's not been one turn really where more than 2 players got knocked out or anything. It's, you know, chipping away at the old glacier. Now it looks like he might reverse field again. That's, oh my gosh. Boy, as many good things as John Molson has going for them, they just cannot keep Pestigors healthy. That's a minus AAV on that guy, and his career is probably over.
Menno's got he's not working with a nothing burger today, is he? He had that big game in the NBFL too. He killed one of Nico's AG4 wolves, and now this. Look at this.
Yeah, I saw like what 5 casualties and like 3 perms or something. I mean, I think a couple were, you know, zombies, but
I didn't. He lost the ball there early in the first half, and I turned it off, so I didn't see the end of it. But I did see him kill that wolf.
Nice.
And I guess he ended up coming back with a tie. So I don't know. Maybe this is good. Maybe his dice are really good right now, and then when he plays Arizona here this weekend, then they'll turn back around to a nothing burger, and he can just be angry about it. It'll be good for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly a possibility.
So he'll just put this wolf right here in the middle of the field, and then he'll run it right up the gut here at the end.
It is turn 6, so you need to be in scoring position at the end of turn 7, but when you're movement 9, the furthest you can be away is column 11. Probably afford to move a little closer than that, but we'll see how he plays it. And yes, Apajar, if you do happen to catch this or just see the result, be sure to send a basket of flowers or fruit or some kind of thanks to Menno and UNAM, because they softened up John Molson for you a little bit.
I'll say, look at this poor Pavel Burry. Strength 4, dodge, block, dodge, tackle. Oh, man, that's brutal.
Only a sophomore, too, I believe.
Gone too soon.
Indeed. Now, granted, they still have...
He's got the...
Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, Killem Winslow. Yeah, they still got him, so they'll be all right.
Yeah, they do have all 4 bloaters, and that disturbing presence might give Hawaii some... What did I just miss? Did we get a Rotter play of the century?
Yep, a 1 dice pow on the wolf.
Nice.
So that's good.
Was Menno's spacing a little bit off there, or something happened? That guy just...
He just went around and went for it and hit him, and it worked out, I think. He just hit that zombie with the bloater, and it opened up the room for the
other Rotter.
Rotter to get through with a 1 dice.
Yeah, I mean, as much as we think of Rotters as kind of like disposable line of scrimmage guys and just dirty players, I mean, they're still 5.338. That's, a 3+ dodge and a 1 die block. It worked there. And now Minnow's got to be careful of not using too many resources without getting players in scoring position here. But
Well, he's got this ghoul is in scoring, right? Can't that ghoul score?
technically, yeah. And this is going to help free him up. So move the ghoul, 2 forward maybe, just as a screen. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Werewolf down here.
He might go ahead and hand off. Nope.
I'm not sure you need to.
Looks like he's thinking about it though.
That's a 3+ pickup and a 4+ handoff. Not to mention disturbing presence.
Oh
nearby.
yeah, I always forget about that.
Yeah, well, there was a chat last week in the the NCBB chat about disturbing presence and how people, like Nelfine, for example, says he marks it because he always forgets. And Baz is like, you're playing against Nurgle. How do you forget the skill that, like, 4 of their key players, like 5 of them have?
Yeah.
And I mean, to be fair, I forget about it too, because when you're just viewing the chessboard, you think of disturbing presence as like an anti-passing skill, but a catch from a handoff is still affected by it, and that's the part that gets me a lot.
Yeah, and I think that'll be good when, like, in new rules, if people decide to take random doubles or whatever, or random secondary skills, and you wind up with disturbing presence, like, you're not going to be mad about it. That's going to be one of those random skills that you got cheap that people will forget about, and it's going to mess up somebody's handoff or somebody's pass, and it's going to end up winning you a game here and there. I mean, it's not going to be like game changing, but
I mean, go ahead.
I was going to say it'll be one of those things that for half price you're going to be like, yeah, cool,
not bad. Similar to Foul Appearance, to where like you don't bank on it working, but every 1/6 of the times your guy just says, "Ha ha ha, not today, sir."
Especially maybe those teams that have like the, mutations on a primary like Chaos and who else? Just Chaos.
Maybe Renegades still.
I think some of the Renegades have it, not all of them.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, that's it. I don't know. It's going to be really fun to take random skills and wind up with somebody cool.
I think it's going to be interesting. I know a lot of people are not looking forward to some of the changes, but what can you do? Just enjoy it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fun. I mean, for everybody who doesn't enjoy it, there's going to be 2 that do. So
one can hope. Let's see, Uber. What are your options here? 1, 2, 3, 4. Tag the ball. And that's a double guard there, so that's a -2 on the dirty player. But yeah, I think
Stand firm makes it. He's got no push out, does he?
No, I think you just blitz through the zombie with your bloater to come around and tag the wolf and just hope at this point. Maybe dodge the rotter around and tag the ghoul or something.
If only his elf were still up.
Yeah. Whoa, we're getting 1, 2, 3.
So are you playing a TCU too? You're playing another TCU Hornet. So there's 2 TCU Horn Rats now?
I think mine was there first. I just used them for like a season or season and a half as an extra team. I mean, I'm not going to say we're the better TCU. I mean, our record is not very good. But
the original TCU, though, is what you're trying to claim, though.
Yeah, and I have, the initials like T.C.U. So, I don't know. Texas Cheese University versus whatever freshman's rat team thinks of themselves. Gets the dodge with the bloater. But now you're going to have to do some GFIs. And you just make them. and then you dodge this guy away. If you can get these GFIs here, I think you needed to tag the Flesh Golem. I don't know. It's not ideal. You really wanted one more space. Okay, so he's going to blitz with the white. If he doesn't get it, he can either block with the ghoul or dodge with the wolf. And knocks him down, you walk into the end zone, you pretty much guaranteed a 1-to-1 tie here.
No, you make some blocks first. What's he doing? That's not play there.
He did that earlier.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, at the end of the first half. He had like a 6+ catch potentially, or like a 5+ catch to get a score per, like a very low odd play. So he started throwing a couple extra blocks.
Sure, why not? And that kind of deal.
Yeah. Pretty standard setup here. I mean, you're not really concerned about Nurgle one-turning with 8 players, only 2 Pestigors.
No, you're more concerned about the riot.
True.
So he'll set up for a 2-turn defense in case the riot happens and Uber gets an extra turn.
Yeah, no offense. I don't want that. I'd like to kind of like start chillaxing, go to bed soon. I've got work in the morning.
You got work in the morning, huh?
Yes, sir. 9 a.m., which is not as early as you get up normally, but...
No. Well, I'm on bereavement, so none for me till Monday.
Nice. Gonna splurge and play a little extra Blood Bowl, or what are you playing for the rest of the week?
Yeah, I would like to play a little extra Blood Bowl. I might play something in box or ranked. I've got the kids at home too, so but of the evening, this time or an hour before this, I can definitely play a little something.
That's cool. That's cool.
I think Menno and I are gonna play on Saturday evening
For the NBFL?
Yeah, and I've got tabletop on Friday.
Okay, so you're a busy man.
I just finished my people team for tabletop.
Let's see, Uber with, I mean, there's not a lot of setups you can do here. You've got one Pestigore in the middle to run downfield if something happens, and one relatively, yeah, that's it. Alright, so it's going to be a 1-to-1 tie. UNAM, potentially the top team of the country, according to most metrics. Looks like they'll stay undefeated. Let's see.
Punching range. Yeah. UNAM's a great program, man. They got to be the favorite at this point, right?
7-2-0, still undefeated. They've got 1 game left.
But yeah, Hawaii?
No, I think John Molson has Hawaii, which means UNAM has some poor fool known as Washington. Okay, that's actually not a cakewalk.
Which Washington?
The Washington Huscarls, rather, coached by Dutch Life. Yeah, not an easy one. That claw doesn't mean much. This team's healthy, at least currently. I guess he's got another game first.
Yeah, I don't know. How do you feel about that matchup? Norse against Undeads.
It's one of those things to where whichever team starts the avalanche, if they can continue it, the game's over and it's easy. If Norse do what Norse do, when Astaflix plays them in the NBFL, for example, and they just clear the field and have a bunch of drunken, Norsemen going crazy, that's great. But if the Necro go out and do their thing early, and the Norsemen start leaving the field, then it gets ugly, and then it's just like a 2-0 walkthrough. But I don't know. It could be fun.
Gonna be some blood.
Yeah, for sure. Going for the pass. Doesn't get it. All right, that is it for our coverage of UNAM and John Molson. That is a 1-1 tie. UNAM 7-2-0 now. John Molson, I think, like 6-2, and I'll just double check it. Boom. Current standings. Uber. Where are we? AKC. So John Molson will be 6-2. Pardon me, 6-2-1. Certainly respectable and not out of it, but we'll see what the last couple weeks have in store. It's going to be a fight to the finish, I say.
Yeah, a big win against Hawaii would help Uber a lot.
Oh, yeah. That's a hell of a finale. All right, well, thanks for joining me. We'll catch everybody next time, and good luck the rest of the way.
All right, buddy. Be good.